For the latest film interviews, reviews, and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now.
I can assure you, once if we ever do chat after the film, I think we should, that we've made all our efforts to, whether it's on the edit table or whether it's on a writing table, is to not make anything jingoistic or anything which is digressing from his life story. But yet keeping the facts alive. Yes, the industry makes you feel that business is everything. And I have come to realize that it's something that we do because actors are obsessed about purely because of the business aspect of Bollywood and how they make you so conscious of it.
Sidharth, it's so lovely to see you. It's been what feels like forever.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've had a long gap, all of us. And it's always great to come back to the movies and talk to everyone. Yeah. Especially talk to you. It's been such a long time.
You know, Sid, I was thinking that if a scriptwriter wrote the story of Captain Vikram Batra, we would probably say, nahi, ye zyada ho gaya. Right? Here's a man who is so brave that he's in hand-to-hand combat, killing Pakistani soldiers and dies while trying to rescue one of his own. Here's a man so filmy that when his girlfriend says that she's insecure about marriage or she brings up the issue of marriage, he cuts his thumb and puts blood in her mang. Here's a man inspired to become a soldier because he sees Paramveer Chakra on Doordarshan and then wins a Paramveer Chakra posthumously. I mean, what a formidable human being. Like, how did you prepare to play this guy?
Well, firstly, absolutely. We're not making these things up, guys. Whoever's watching the film eventually, just like you said, all these scenes, or pretty much, I would say 99% of the scenes in the film have actually happened somewhere or the other, or have been spoken. The words have been spoken by him, whether it's his friends, whether it's his family, whether it's his love story, and of course, whether it's the army. So, he was an incredible personality. For him to say such, quote unquote, filmy lines at that time, because I think which he genuinely was, which I know a lot from the family, a big film buff. He grew up in Palampur. He studied in Chandigarh, Punjab University, where we actually shot as well. And I actually went, I had met the family before, but when I had gone to Palampur to his house, what also really helped me prepare for the role is to just obviously know his family. When you meet someone's family, you know how their background is, what their thinking comes from. And just to see his belongings. I mean, they have very sweetly kept a lovely museum kind of first floor of their house, where there are his pictures, his diaries, his belongings, his outfit, his clothes that he had in his barracks. And it was very emotional, very heart-touching, but yet, once you read his comments in his diaries to his friends, he's cracked jokes and, he's written funny comments and he's tried to remember people's birthday. And one friend, he says, oh, I don't care. Like, even if I forget his birthday, it's fine. This one I can forget. So he was I feel he was all heart. So I feel my preparation started by first understanding how he was in his personal zone, where because I met the family first, it really helped. He was this good-hearted, Punjabi, lovable boy. And then the second aspect is him as an army officer, which he was very driven by, as you said, right from his childhood. And he always aspired to be one. He was an absolute, I would say, a very driven leader. When he was leading his pact, he was very impatient and a go-getter. He's like, don't distract me. Okay, that's my goal, and I'm your leader. Trust me, and let's move forward. So we spoke a lot for preparation. I spoke a lot to his fellow army personnels, and his subordinates used to always say कि जब Batra साहब lead करते थे ना तो हमें बड़ा सुकून होता था. We used to feel safer with Batra साहब leading because वो इतने confidence से lead करते थे कि हमने उनको genuinely बोला कि बत्रा साहब जब आप कैप्टन बनेंगे तो हमें जरूर बुलाना. And that's the personality that he had. He was soft and charming and lovable, and yet at the same time he was very driven and very focused. So it took a lot to really absorb all of that as an actor, and hopefully my attempt is to do it in a more Also in a more genuine way, in a more real point of view. That's what I like personally as well. And I also feel with such high octane material or dialogues or the war, India, Pakistan, it's very easy to get, driven away and kind of blow things out of proportion. You could say those, या तो तिरंगा लहरा के आऊंगा उसमें लिपट के आऊंगा in a far more dramatized way. But I feel consciously as an actor and then us as a team took a call that with all the drama that happened in his life, we need to take a more today's tonality, something which is more believable, something which is more real, which kind of keeps the authenticity intact. So the attempt is that. And also a lot of prep went into the physical aspect of training, whether it's training with the army. We were very lucky. We had army personnel training us in Mumbai, starting from army drills to their gun training to how we would behave in combat, what would they teach us, hand signals. And then, of course, when we went to Kargil, which is, I feel, the most toughest terrain to shoot in, we had training along with real army personnel and, of course, our action people. So a lot has gone in, genuinely blood, sweat and tears. So really happy this journey has finally come to an end. I've been on this film for about 5 years and it's finally out and with the correct team and the correct production house. And so really looking forward to the 12th of August.
So tell me, how do you make a film about war without glorifying violence? Are these conversations that you and Vishnu had on the set at all?
Absolutely. I think we were very conscious right from the beginning. As I said, I've been involved in this film's process since around 2016. And that time was a complete different, much larger, broader script. Shabir Boxwala and Vishal Batra were involved at that time. And that was my issue as well at that time. When we are trying to make a shorter version of the script, it's kind of not feeling contemporary. It's not giving us a new take. And it took a while. It took a year and a half there. And then I finally decided to take a call that I don't feel this is going anywhere and we have to make this film. And I remember chatting with Vishal that, are you okay? Me taking it to another production house. And that's where I took it to Dharma Productions. And we were lucky to get Sandeep Srivastav, who's the writer. Vishnu Vardhan came pretty much along with Sandeep because they knew each other before. And Vishnu had heard of the script and he was very eager to make it in Hindi. And then, of course, Kiara came on board and when Dharma Productions came in, I knew that it will be made. It still took a long time, but it eventually did get made. But we were very conscious that I remember for a month and a half, we were sitting on the script and every scene possible. We also had a much broader script. We had to cut it down and eventually we also cut down stuff from the edit. So it became much more precise. But the initial conscious effort was that we are not taking a take on this political take or take on whether, who was right, who was wrong, or whether it has a sense of loss for sure. It has a sense of loss, which shows that war is not good. It's not a win-win for any of them.
Yeah.
But yet, I think our basic essence was that we just want to tell the world why Vikram Batra is called Shershaah. So that the reason that he was called Shershaah in the battlefield, or the name that resonated, is because of his bravery and his heroic, acts that he did for the country. So I can assure you, once if we ever do chat after the film, I think we should that we've made all our efforts to whether it's on the edit table or whether it's on a writing table, is to not make anything jingoistic or anything which is digressing from his life story, but yet keeping the facts alive. Like everyone knows, what the battle was, who was it with. We have jhalaks of those as documentation because we need that in screenplay. You can't just say that, we're fighting an unknown enemy. But once you see, there is hardly any take. Even there is a conversation with the other side, with the enemy. It's purely documented. It's something that Vikram said it in his own interviews. And that's just about it. It's purely about how he faced the fears and, said the most iconic lines in history in the Indian Army.
Dharma has a good track record with Razi and Gunjan Saxena about not making jingoistic war films. I have faith. Sid, you talked about the family and how deeply involved they've been, through this process, and especially his twin brother Vishal. One of the most moving things I read was in an interview, his mother said that when the twins were born, she said that I didn't understand why God gave me two sons. But when Vikram passed away, I understood that it was because one was for the country and one was for me. And I was like, that's just like, it's like, it gives you goosebumps, when you read something like that. Now you're playing both these men. The family, of course, is going to, or might have already seen the film. When you do have people who are watching that closely, do you try to capture the essence? Do you try to capture the mannerisms? Like, what is that balancing act when you play a real life person with the family watching?
No, so absolutely. I feel there's a much larger responsibility on an actor or the team when you're playing a real life character, and then such a heroic character who's obviously, as even his mother said, that one passed away for the country, which includes all of us. So we can't say that I don't know why he's given his life, but we are well aware of it, and it's for our service as well. So I feel there's an added kind of pressure, and I keep saying this, that I'm very nervous. The family has not seen the film.
Okay.
Batra has seen the film. And I feel, I remember when I went and met them in their own house in Palampur while we were shooting, and coming back from that dinner, I remember telling whether it's Kiara or whether it's Vishnu that, okay guys, tomorrow we're shooting, but you do realize it's not a commercial film. It's not a commercial film for them. It's their life story. It's their son's story, and I think that evening, that's where I realized that there's a larger responsibility. And I remember telling his father as well at their home that, uncle, I'm very overwhelmed with all the lovely stories that, you guys have told me over the months and over the years. But please do understand that we can only give you an essence of his life in 2 hours. I wish I could do a series on him. I wish this was a longer format. At that time, there was no such thing of going on OTT and shows. It was purely like, cinema is the best. Yeah. So I remember telling them that, and I feel that's my same approach as an actor. Like in my head, I picked different scenes, whether it's a scene with Dimple, whether it's a scene with his best friend in Palampur, whether it's a scene with his comrades in the army, where I felt that if in these scenes, if I get the charming Vikram Batra, which the family has told me, I feel I would have done justice, that they see a jhalak of it, because everything else we're kind of limited by screenplay. We have to do certain things much faster, much slower, and we've incorporated that in the dialogues as well. So I feel it is very nerve-wracking when a family like this watches your film, and I think generally over the years, especially now in the time that it's taken, it's become more than just a commercial film. I feel more attached to it. I feel I cannot do this again. I might not, a biopic of this level or a biopic of this content. And we're just hoping that people get the essence of what Vikram Batra was and why he gave his life. And that's where I feel it's a big mix of all the people that I've spoken to, whether it's his comrades in this, and hoping that people see that on the 12th of August.
I've been reading pieces on the net about how this is a make or break film for you, right? Is this how you view it? Or after 9 years in the business, have you come to have a more measured view of failure and success?
No, definitely. I think spending 9 years here, I don't feel any of my films will make or break, because it's a constant process. I feel what does last is if someone tells you after 3 or 5 years or 10 years, or I've only been in 9 years, after 5 years says that I really loved that film of yours and that scene, and whether it's I cried in say Kapoor and Sons, or when I go to a little more other thing, oh bhai jo aapne wo pehna tha, and ek villain jo aapki look thi. So I'm saying stuff like that which stays. I think that's of really a value to an actor. Yes, the industry makes you feel that business is everything. and I have come to realize that it's 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 something that we do because actors are obsessed about purely because of the business aspect of Bollywood and how they make you so conscious of it. Every numbers are thrown around on social media and everywhere else. But eventually, does that really? That's such a short-lived happiness. Eventually, I can assure you, if you ask any actor, whether we go on a forum or a public, gathering, the moment they narrate to you a scene or a story, is something that gives you true happiness. And I feel that's how I look at this film. I feel it has the potential to do that purely because of the amazing content of this gentleman, Captain Vikram Batra, and B, as I said, I think matured and grown to love this character so much and given it um, a lot of heart purely because I knew I could only do it once. And so far, the response that's coming from the trailer is something which people are feeling it's a bit new, and it's something that we are feeling, "Arey yaar, naya dikh raha hai, kuch convincing ho raha hai." And I feel that's the real victory. I feel over the years, even I have kind of not looked at it from a purely commercial basis, and now so more because it's coming on a platform which is not Friday or Saturday, Sunday based. It's purely content based. I feel, which is good for a film like this. People will see it for as is and not get distracted by numbers. And I think it's a very interesting phase that we are in as actors and as filmmakers.
But so does it? Of course, when you were making the film, there was no OTT platform release in sight. But now, as an actor, do you consider choices differently because you perhaps have choices to do both, to release directly to streaming and also be in theaters, or are you a part of the group that is still very much enamored by theatrical releases?
No, I think life has changed in the last year and a half, and is still not back to normal completely. And for obvious reasons, it's not only in India, around the world, lines are blurred, whether it's going on OTT, whether it's going on, cinema. But if you ask me which one I'm more attached to, of course, cinema. All of us grew up watching films on the big screen. The discipline that comes in with theater is slightly different. Because you've got the audience for those 2 hours. It's far tougher on a platform that you have to grab them. So my take on that is that if I do see right now, we made this film for theaters, and for obvious reasons, we're coming out on Amazon, which is great because we will get a massive release that we would have gotten it in theaters. So I think there's no comparison in the reach as of now. But if you had to ask me that if I want to plan something for the future, which may or may not, which I might plan something, I think then the writing has to change because then there is no first act, second act, third act. It's you need to give them something in the first 10 minutes. You need to grab them by the hook. Your screenplay, which was your obstacle and intentions, have to come much further in your 8th page or your 10th page, not in your 15th, the 20th page, because they can just stroll back. It's like you have so much competition. So I feel as long as a film at the point of inception has the clarity whether we are going on OTT or not, will lend to better cinema on OTT or than on theater, which will be needed now. But it's a big question mark right now. So I'm not sure if I'm completely all my films, to be honest, that I've signed are all based for theatrical release. So was this. And I do say that again, that if this was meant to be there, if we had the chance, we would have re-looked at the edit, possibly opened up few things. I don't think we are so struck on time that it has to be 2 hours on OTT. I think it's something which is good. It can be 5 minutes more. It can be 8 more minutes. And that's what you have to realize. I think you need different techniques, which will cater to that medium.
Yeah.
But as of now, I think we're pretty happy that it's coming on OTT and Amazon Prime videos because we won't never get such a big release in such times.
Okay, last question, Sid. Does playing a brave man make you brave in life?
Well, I was definitely inspired by him. I would be lying, or I think any actor would be lying if they know what it is to die on screen or what it is to recreate. You cannot recreate death. We're all faking it. The best of the best actors are just giving their version of it. So I don't know what it is to obviously give your life for the country. But yes, Vikram Batra is someone I feel his story. Like we are all a victim of our fears. Our biggest obstacle, our fears. We are fear of XYZ things which stop us from doing XYZ things. But Vikram Batra was one person who I know from all his friends and family and colleagues, and now much closely after doing a film, that he overcame his fear with such style and ease, saying, "Ye dil mange more, sir. Ye dil mange more." I mean, us saying it here, it's a line of Pepsi. We've seen it on an ad film, but I have been on those mountains. I've shot somewhere around slightly 2,000 feet lesser than that. I was at 14,000 feet. They were fighting at 16,000 feet. It's no party up there. It's the most uncomfortable place to be in. And there, after accomplishing a mission, still knowing that there are more enemy bunkers to take around, to pick up the communication and tell his superiors, "Sir, ye dil mange more, sir." Like, bring it on. And I think that's something not only me, but I'm hoping that the youth gets inspired from. It's also, people have to realize he was only 24 when he passed away.
It's unbelievable. 24. It's amazing.
I mean, I want to ask all the people who are 24 today or younger than that, or in their 20s, early 20s, are you passionately driven about anything in life today? I think that's the question. It's not about, of course, if you feel so strongly about the army, you should go and join any of the forces. But you could be passionate about anything in life. But just has to have that amount of drive and focus is commendable. And he paid the biggest price. He gave his life. So I was definitely inspired. I'm in awe, but can I actually honestly tell you that I know what it feels like? Of course, I'll be lying if I say yes. So I'm still in awe, and I feel our attempt is to only get the most authentic story out to the people so that his legacy lives on and hopefully inspires some of the youngsters.
Yeah. Well, I cannot wait to see it, Sid. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I hope we chat again once you see the film.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will have to work on the good folks at Amazon.
We will.